Today we will do physical chemistry of BSc part 2. The chapter is thermodynamics and the topic is Joule's law or measurement of del U upon del V T. If internal energy E of any system depends on the volume V and temperature T of that system, then we can say that internal energy is a function of volume and temperature. Therefore, dE is equal to dE del E upon del T V dt plus del E upon del V T dV, and we know that del E upon del T V is equal to Cv. So writing this value in equation 1, we get dE is equal to Cv dt plus del E upon del Vt dV. In the equation 2, the first step in the right hand side depicts the change in Cv with change in temperature. This is easily calculated. The second step on the right hand side depicts the change in internal energy with change in volume at constant temperature. To calculate this, Joule set up an experiment. In this experiment, Joule made a set of two copper spheres A and B connected by a stopcock. Sphere A is filled with a sample of gas while sphere B was vacuated, that is, vacuum was created in sample B, that is sphere B. This set of A, B along with stopcock was immersed in a water thermostat having a stirrer T and a sensitive temperature T. At the start of the experiment, temperature was noted, let's say it's T1. Now the stopcock was opened and the gas in A was allowed to expand in sphere B, and finally the sample gas was spread evenly in both the spheres A and B. When the system attains equilibrium, that is, no more flow of gas takes place from A to B, then we can assume that gas has finally expanded or fully expanded to occupy both the spheres A and B. Now again temperature is noted, let's say it is T2. It was noted by Joule that temperature of the thermostat before the experiment and at the conclusion of the experiment is same, that is T1 is equal to T2, and there is no change in temperature. Now B sphere was evacuated from the beginning, that means in expansion of the gas from A to B, the expansion was done against zero pressure or against vacuum. This means that during expansion no work was done or W is equal to 0. Now we know that as the temperature also does not change, so now dt is equal to 0. Or we can say that no exchange of heat or energy take place between the system and the surroundings, so Q is also equal to 0. According to thermodynamics first law, delta E is equal to Q minus W. So according to this experiment, delta E comes to be 0 because we have seen that Q is equal to 0 and work is also 0. Putting the value of delta E from equation 3 in equation 1, we get del E upon del Vt dV is equal to 0 because we have seen that dE is equal to 0, and since dt is equal to 0, so this term del E upon del Tv dt also becomes 0. So according to equation 4, the product of del E upon del Vt into dV is equal to 0. Hence either del E upon del Vt is equal to 0 or dV is equal to 0. But in the experiment, the gas has expanded from A to A plus B volume, thus dV is not equal to 0. So del E upon del Vt is equal to 0. If a gas expands at constant temperature, then there is no change in the internal energy of the gas, that is d is equal to 0. So we can conclude that internal energy is independent of volume and depends only on temperature. Therefore, for an ideal gas, del E upon del Vt is equal to 0, but for a real gas, the value of del E upon del Vt is always or generally greater than 0. So for a real gas, del E upon del Vt is not equal to 0, and this term, changing internal energy with volume at constant temperature, is called internal pressure. Now we come to Joule's coefficient. The rate of change of temperature with volume, internal energy being constant, the symbol is mu j, and the mathematical formula for mu j is equal to del T upon del V E, that is change in temperature with volume, internal energy being constant. For a real gas, the value of mu j is equal to 0, but for a real gas, the value of mu j is not equal to 0. Since E is a function of temperature and volume, it is an exact differential. And according to cyclic rule of exact differential, we see that del E upon del Tv dot del T upon del Ev dot del T upon del Ev is equal to -1. And we have seen that del E upon del Tv is equal to Cv and del T upon del V is equal to mu j. So del E upon del Vt comes to be minus Cv mu j. By equation of value, del E upon del Vt for real gases can be calculated. Experimentation of Joule theory is not applicable to solids and liquid system, as a very high magnitude of pressure is required to bring about even a minuscule change in their volume. On integrating equation 2 at constant temperature, we get limit E1 to E2 dE, limit V2 V1 to V2 del E upon del Vt dV, and we have seen that as delta V is negligible, and in this volume range, that is V2 minus V2 to V1, this volume range, we can assume del E upon del Vt to be constant, and since it is taken as constant, we take it out of the integration symbol, and the equation becomes applying the limit E1 to E2 dE is equal to del E upon del Vt. We have taken this out of the integration, and applying the limit V1 to V2 dV. This equation becomes E2 minus E1 del E upon del Vt and V2 minus V1, or dE is equal to, that is delta E is equal to del E upon del Vt delta V. Equation 9 can be applied to measure the del E upon del Vt for solids and liquid system. As value of delta V is almost negligible for solids and liquids, it can be considered to be 0. Although the value of delta E upon del Vt is quite significant, but for the solids and liquids, the product of del E upon del Vt into dV comes to be 0, so dE also equal to 0. So we can say that internal energy of solids and liquids can also be taken as function of only temperature and independent of volume. Now we come to Joule-Thomson fact. If under adiabatic conditions, gases are made to flow from a region of high pressure to a region of low pressure or vacuum through a porous plug, then there occurs a decrease in temperature of the gas. This effect is called Joule-Thomson effect or cooling effect. The decrease in temperature is proportional to the degree difference in the pressure on both sides of the plug. That is, the decrease in the temperature is proportional to the difference in the pressure on both sides of the plug. That is, delta T is directly proportional to delta P. Now, decrease in kinetic energy of the molecules of the gas is responsible for the cooling effect or decrease in temperature of the gas. At high pressure, there are van der Waals forces active in gases. When a gas expands against low pressure in vacuum, then the molecules have to move away from each other. And to move away from each other, energy is needed to break the van der Waals forces active in the molecules. Now, as the process is carried out in adiabatic or isothalpic process, that is, heat or energy exchange cannot take place between the system and the surroundings. So, this energy which is required has to come from within the system, which leads to the decrease in kinetic energy and thus the gas leading to the cooling effect. For ideal gases, van der Waals forces are assumed to be negligible. Therefore, in expansion of the ideal gases, the Joule-Thomson effect is almost negligible. Now we come to Joule-Thomson experiment. In the Joule-Thomson experiment, if we consider the apparatus, for this experiment consists of a tube, that is S to S tube, S prime. It is made up of insulated substance. This tube has a porous plug A or porous membrane, and on both the sides of A are two frictionless pistons. On the left of the porous plug A, the piston is X, and on the right side of the porous plug A, the piston is Y. There are two sensitive thermometers in the setup. The whole setup is made insulated so that energy or heat exchange between the system and the surrounding does not take place. Now we come to the working. Then we see the X plug on the left hand side moves towards porous plug A, causing compression of gas. The gas passes through the porous plug A towards the right side, then expansion of the gas takes place as the piston Y moves outwards. Supposingly a gas having volume V1 is present between piston X and porous plug A, and this moves towards porous plug A, that is inverse. So gas moves through porous plug A and expands on the right hand side, expands, and piston Y moves outwards. So the gas is allowed to expand till the volume is V2 and pressure is P2, and in the origin the volume is V1 and P1. So now we see that the work on piston X is equal to V1 to 0 P1 dV. That is work done on during compression is W1 is equal to minus P1 V1. And the work done by piston Y is equal to limit 0 to V2 V2 dV. So the work done by gas during expansion is W2 V2. Or example, we can take that total work done is equal to W is equal to P2 V2 minus P1 V1. As there is no energy exchange, it being in adiabatic process, this means that Q is equal to 0. And for doing expansion, work internal energy of the system is consumed, thereby resulting in the decrease of E, that is internal energy of the system. Suppose at the beginning of the experiment, energy E is equal to E1, and at the completion of the experiment, energy E is equal to E2. So decrease in energy delta E is equal to E2 minus E1. According to the first law of thermodynamics, delta E is equal to Q minus W, or we can say E2 minus E1 is equal to 0 minus W, as we have seen that Q is equal to 0, or E2 minus E1 is equal to minus W, or we can say E2 minus E1 is equal to P2 V2 minus P1, because we know that work is equal to PV. Now bringing the terms of subscript 1 together and terms of the subscript 2 together, the equation takes the form E2 plus P2 V2 is equal to E1 plus P1, or H2 is equal to H1, because we know that H is equal to E plus PV. Or this equation can also be written as H2 minus H1 is equal to 0. Thus, according to equation 19, on the adiabatic expansion of real gases, enthalpy of the system remains unchanged, or H is constant, but internal energy of the system changes. That's all for today.